Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, I invite you to do something unusual. Take a breath. Not the quick, automatic kind, but a deep one. Because for the next few minutes, this is not just a speech you will hear. It is a conversation you will have with yourself. We live in a world that constantly tells us who to blame. If you're struggling, it's the system. If you're unhappy, it's your past. If you're behind, it's your environment. And while some of those things may be true, they hide a deeper question. A question most people avoid their entire lives. What if my life is my responsibility? Not partially, not when it's convenient, not when circumstances are fair, but fully. Because responsibility is frightening. It removes excuses, it removes hiding places. But it also does something extraordinary. It gives you back your power. Today is not about motivation. Motivation fades. Today is about ownership. About the moment a human being stops saying, "This is happening to me," and starts saying, "This is my life, and I will answer for it." This moment may be uncomfortable, but discomfort is often the doorway to truth. So if at any point you feel resistance, good. It means something important is happening. Let's begin. Chapters 1 to 9 remain exactly as previously written. Before you leave this room, I want you to understand something deeply. Your life is not a rehearsal. There is no practice version of your days. No alternate ending where you suddenly become the person you were meant to be. This, right now, is it. One day, you will look back on this life, not as a spectator, but as the author. And the most important question will not be, was life fair to me? It will be, did I take responsibility for what was given to me? Because history does not remember victims. It remembers those who stood up, often with fear in their hearts, and chose ownership over excuses. You don't need to control everything. You only need to control your response. You don't need to be perfect. You only need to be responsible. And that responsibility begins the moment you walk out of here. In the choices you make, in the standards you accept, in the promises you keep to yourself. Take responsibility for your time. Take responsibility for your growth. Take responsibility for your future. Because the most powerful day of your life is not the day everything goes right. It is the day you stop blaming and start building. So wherever you are in your journey, whether you feel behind, lost, or uncertain, remember this. Your past explains you, but it does not define you. Your circumstances influence you, but they do not own you. You own your life. And the moment you take 100% responsibility for it, you take 100% ownership of who you can become. That is not just a mindset. That is a decision. Make it today. Take 100% responsibility for your life. Chapter 1, The Comfortable Lie of Blame. Long introduction. Before we talk about responsibility, we must talk about something that quietly dominates human behavior. Something so common that we barely notice it. Something so seductive that it feels harmless. Blame. Blame is often the first language we learn when things go wrong. It shows up in childhood, grows in adolescence, and becomes a habit in adulthood. Blame gives us a story where we are innocent, misunderstood, unlucky. And for a moment, it feels good. But comfort has a price. Because every time you blame something outside yourself, you give away something precious inside yourself. Your power. You may win the argument, you may feel justified, but you lose control over your life. That's why blame is comfortable and dangerous. Message, citation, and anecdote. Blame is one of the most addictive drugs in the world. It numbs pain. It protects the ego, but it also freezes growth. Jim Rohn once said, open quote, "You cannot change the circumstances, the seasons, or the wind, but you can change yourself." Close quote. There's an old story about a farmer whose horse ran away. The neighbors said, "What bad luck?" The farmer replied, "Maybe." When the horse returned with wild horses, they said, "Good luck." Again, he replied, "Maybe." The farmer did not blame. He did not overreact. He stayed responsible. Blame asks, "Who did this to me?" Responsibility asks, "What can I do now?" Chapter 2, Responsibility is not guilt. Long introduction. Now let's slow down here, because this chapter matters deeply. When people hear the word responsibility, many feel resistance. Some feel accused, some feel judged, some feel misunderstood. And that's because responsibility has often been confused with guilt. But responsibility is not about punishing yourself. It is not about denying pain. It is not about pretending injustice doesn't exist. Responsibility is not saying, "This is my fault." Responsibility is saying, this is my life. And there is a profound difference. Message, citation, and anecdote. Viktor Frankl, who survived Nazi concentration camps, wrote, open quote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." Close quote. Frankl lost his freedom, his family, his dignity. But he refused to lose ownership of his response. That is responsibility. What happened to you may not have been your fault, but what happens next is your responsibility. And that truth doesn't imprison you. It frees you. Chapter 3. The day you stop waiting. Long introduction. There is a silent disease affecting millions of people. It doesn't show on medical tests, it doesn't make noise, but it slowly kills dreams. It's called waiting. Waiting for confidence. Waiting for permission. Waiting for the right moment. But life does not reward waiting. Life rewards movement. The tragedy is not failure. The tragedy is a life lived on pause. Message, citation, and anecdote. Mark Twain warned us, open quote, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did. Close quote. A man once said, I'll start when I'm ready, but ready never came. Another man started afraid, unprepared, imperfect, and learned along the way. Responsibility begins when you stop asking, am I ready? And start asking, am I willing? Chapter 4. You are where you are because of your choices. Long introduction. This chapter is uncomfortable because it removes the last hiding place. It forces us to look in the mirror without filters, without stories, without excuses. Not to shame ourselves, but to wake ourselves up, because awareness is the beginning of change. Message, citation, and anecdote. Stephen Covey said, open quote, I am not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions. Close quote. Two brothers, same father, same trauma. One became an alcoholic. The other became disciplined and successful. Same past, different responsibility. Your future does not depend on what happened. It depends on what you choose next. Chapter 5, Responsibility Creates Leaders. Long introduction. Leadership does not begin with authority. It begins with accountability. The world is full of people who want power, but avoid responsibility. True leaders run toward responsibility while others run away, and that is why they rise. Message, citation, and anecdote. In the military, the strongest leaders say, the failure is mine. A Japanese proverb says, open quote, the leader is the last to eat. Close quote. Responsibility earns trust. Trust creates influence, and influence creates leadership. Chapter 6. The Price of Responsibility. Long introduction. Let's be honest, responsibility is not comfortable. It demands maturity. It demands humility. But every meaningful life demands a price. The question is not whether you will pay, but what you will pay with. Message, citation, and anecdote. African wisdom tells us, open quote, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Close quote. Responsibility says, I start now. Discipline hurts for a moment. Regret hurts for a lifetime. Chapter 7. Your inner dialogue matters. Long introduction. Before the world responds to you, you speak to yourself. That voice shapes your courage, your fear, your identity. Change the voice, change the life. Message, citation, and anecdote. Henry Ford said, open quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Close quote. Responsible people ask empowering questions. Victims ask limiting ones. Your question